the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, LCCH, which was conceptualized but remained under the radar for a very long time. The project, a 700-kilometer highway infrastructure, has drawn both praise and criticism in equal measure since the Bola Tinubu administration gave approval in February. Stay tuned and watch to the end as we try to break down what this all means. So without wasting your time, let's get into it. We will talk about two things today: the potential impact of the LCCH to the country and the controversies and concerns on the construction of this LCCH. But before we get into that, let's take a trip to understand what this project is about, which is termed as the largest single infrastructure in Nigeria.
The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway is a 700-kilometer highway which will pass through different states across the coastal area of the country. The highway, which started from Lagos, will pass through Ogun, Ondo, Delta, Bayelsa, Port Harcourt, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River State. It has two spurs leading to northern states. First to Badagry, then to Sokoto, and the second spur is the African trans-Saharan trade route running from Enugu, Abakaliki, Ogoja, and then to the border of Cameroon. The project was initiated by former President Goodluck Jonathan administration and reviewed by Muhammadu Buhari's administration. The project will be done in multiple sections of different phases. Phase 1, Section 1 starts from Ahmadu Bello Way to Lekki Deep Seaport, which is 47.4 kilometers. Section 2 is 55 kilometers, running from Lekki Deep Seaport to the border between Ogun and Osun State. Section 3 will start from the end of the project, which is from Calabar running towards Akwa Ibom, which will be 60 kilometers. Another section will start from Port Harcourt running towards Bayelsa, and the other section starts from Delta running towards Ondo State. Presently, Section 1 is under construction, and according to the Minister for Works, David Umahi, each section will run independent of each other, and the duration for Section 1 is 36 months. This section started on the 11th of March 2024, and it is expected to be completed by the 10th of March 2027. Also, according to the minister, since each section will run independent of each other, the 700-kilometer coastal highway is expected to be completed within 8 years. The highway is a two-carriageway of 10 lanes, 5 on each side of the road, with a provision for a rail track in between the median. The rail track will not run concurrently with the construction of the road. The road is being constructed using concrete reinforcement technology, what is also called the rigid pavement, with a reinforcement of 16mm steel bars. The project is contracted to High-Tech Construction Company, one of the leading building and civil engineering contractors in Nigeria.
The Lagos-Calabar Highway is more than just a connection between two cities. It's a bridge to a brighter economic future for the entire region. The improved travel time will significantly benefit businesses transporting goods across the states. Imagine seafood cut off at the coast of Akwa Ibom State reaching Lagos markets within a day, or manufactured goods in Ogun reaching Calabar markets at a snap of a finger. This will not only reduce costs, but it also opens up new markets, encouraging economic diversification and growth. This road's impact will not be limited to businesses alone. It will also be a hotspot for tourists. With shorter travel times and easier access to coastal destinations, the highway will definitely make a hotspot for tourists. Imagine spending a weekend soaking up in the hot sun in the pristine beaches of Ondo, or exploring the historical landmarks of Calabar, all within a comfortable driving distance. This surge in tourism will definitely lead to the creation of new hotels, restaurants, recreational facilities, further boosting the economic activities of that region. The creation of new jobs is also another significant benefit. The construction stage alone will generate quite a number of opportunities for both skilled and unskilled workers. And once completed, the highway will create a demand for new services along its route, leading to the growth of the transportation, logistics, and the hospitality sectors. Now, these job opportunities will have a ripple effect, boosting local economies and improving the quality of life of the people living in that region. Critics are pointing fingers at the cost and not following due process, that the bidding was not competitive enough. Also, the owners of High-Tech, which is the company that won the bid, are suspected to have ties with Tinubu. Under President Jonathan, the LCCH was to cost $12 billion, and $11.1 billion under President Buhari. Umahi has now said the cost has jumped to $13 billion plus. The organized labor has already held Umahi accountable after the minister said that the toll fees will start at 1,500 naira for a car and about 3,000 naira for a truck. To attain the LCCH, the funding plan should be radically different. The 127.5 kilometers Lagos to Ibadan expressway is still under construction after 20 years. The Presidential Infrastructure Audit Committee has already listed about 8,000 abandoned projects across the country. The Badagry-Sokoto highway, earlier proposed in the Second Republic, is grounded. But on the positive side, the LCCH can put Nigeria on the global infrastructure map, as it will be told the income from users will pay for the cost in 15 years, Umahi said. It's also a plus that there are plans to build a rail system in the middle of it. If completed as scheduled, it will reduce Nigeria's huge infrastructure deficit. The African Development Bank calculates that Nigeria needs about $100 billion annually over 30 years in order to breach this deficit. Turnpike infrastructure projects are very common. A major example is the 1,056 kilometers Pacific Coast Highway in the United States of America, cutting across several states. It's also the longest state route there. There's also the 306 kilometers El Salvador Coastal Highway project, mainly targeted at evacuating large agricultural products. Ultimately, Nigerians will definitely appreciate the project if their governments actually employ the same speed to other dozens of abandoned projects scattered all across the country, making the lives of Nigerians miserable.